So welcome to another Exploring Consciousness with you at Nouveau Hub. And today we've got Robin, who will take the helm, and she's gonna show us what it's like to go with the flow. Over to you, Robin.
Well, thanks. And I am so thrilled to be here. And I've been so thrilled when I can be here in person, and when I'm not, and I'm listening to the video, a recording of it. I just want to tell all of you that your energy reaches out and grabs me every time. There's only been a couple of them that I haven't been able to watch. And last week when Irina was doing her great presentation, Spirit kept saying it's time to step in and do the second part of the participation. And I said, okay, having no idea what Spirit had in mind, just Spirit kept saying, say it. And so all week, every day, this has been on my mind, yet I have been put in a position to stay in the flow. Don't think about it, Robin. Wait till you get there. Everything that you need will be there with you. You remember this. You've done this many times in this lifetime. That's how I always do my adult classes, the community gatherings, the Reiki circles that I would do. Even the little Tots spiritual class for 14 years. And that's how and Spirit was saying, don't forget how you really function. You function in the moment, in the flow. And so I am inviting all of you here in this moment now, whether you're physically here now, or it's this now or that now, I'm welcoming you here now as a participant of this thread, of this fabric, of this energy field, of this pulsation of you and me and every one of us here, co-creating the new moment now with the new possibilities that can only exist now, to bring forth that which is in each one of us, our highest vibrating, celestial, cosmic wave of existence, bringing you now into that, okay? And you are here with me now in an agreement that we made, who knows, maybe a millennia ago, maybe a couple of millennia ago. We came here today because each one of you has a skill set. You have a DNA technology within you and within your access to, now that all of the old and all of the other timelines are starting to dissolve and starting to fall away, that we now can see that they're all merging. There's one choice: merge into it the best way that you can. And so I'm here today to show you that it doesn't matter what happens and when it pops up or how quickly it pops up, whether it feels good, bad, challenging, ecstatic, expansive. It doesn't matter what our parameters are around it. Those parameters are just programs, chapters in a book, letters in a word. They're only a small piece. And what we're going to do today is we're going to invite in the fact that we are this expansive cosmic being, and we create what is here. And so the vocal cord, that chakra, going out, being fed in. When you look up and it falls directly in line with all of those major endocrine glands, all those chakra systems. And this is what we're moving the crud away from. Kovi, breathing, respiratory, choking up. We've done of like you got a big gob in your throat. And loosen it up. And let it go. All right? Do it in your own little room here, guys. Clear it up. Clear it up. Let it go. Make that sound. You know that gross sound that we used to listen to those old geezers make when we were kids? Yeah. So I want you to imagine that it really is. It's a plug, and that plug is coming out. That plug is dissolving. That plug is dispersing. That plug no longer resonates with us. It doesn't resonate with us, so it can't stay with it. It can't stay attached. So all of this throat chakra, voice masking is to empower us, to remind us to take that greatest being in you, the one you dream about, and you think, oh my God, wouldn't that be great to do? Wouldn't that be marvelous to be? And allow that person to be here now. Okay. So I want to stop for just a second and say, I don't know how many of you did the Zoom with Dan Millman. This is my second copy. This is from 2013. And I used it extensively when I would counsel somebody, or I was going to give somebody a healing session, to give me, not to give me, to allow spirit to give me another anchor into them, to tap into their vibrational field. And so I was directed by spirit first to ask if there's anybody here today that got the book, who didn't have the book, or discovered something from this book since you guys did that Zoom with it that you're willing to share right now. Anybody? Alan?
I haven't looked at it.
Okay. So Alan, if you can get a copy of it, one of the basic things is you just add up your month, the day of birth, and the whole year. Okay, you add up each single digit, you get a total, and you keep reducing it down till it's one, till it's like two numbers, and then it becomes the one number. But it gives us insight to people that we may be dealing with too. So this, and Dan Millman, I was told by spirit to say this too. I don't know if you all know this, but he wrote The Way of this Peaceful Warrior, but he also wrote a couple of children's books. And they're about a young boy, Danny, and his quest. And one is for the Crystal Castle, and I forgot what the other one is called. But basically it's about learning self. And, and he first wants to learn with Socrates and learn how to beat the poop out of everybody, right? And that's kind of the stance that we're in right now in the world. We want to beat the poop out of everybody to make them see that they're wrong and we're right. And what the child learns and what we learn is that that's one way to go about it, but it's not the only way. So is there anybody else who wanted to share anything about their experience with this? Yeah, Tanya.
I just wanted to say that, when we did the session, I was adding everyone up in my family, all of their birth dates. And I thought it was really fascinating how similar, like how many, I think like my dad and my grandmother and my husband all had the same numbers. And then my sister and brother had the same numbers along with my grandfather. So I thought it was really interesting how, just looking at kind of like my immediate family and then my grandparents and like their, my family spouses, how similar everyone was, how it's like different people were aligned. It's like, okay, maybe I have a lesson path and my sister's husband had the same lesson path or something. I thought it was really interesting.
I'm so glad that you brought that up as an observation, because it's very true when we are working within a group, like the people here that work within the hub and the people working within the family unit. or people that are working together, whatever it is. My oldest son, I had to give up for adoption. And it was really interesting that when we met when my second son was 17, and 17 is a big number in my life. So you all know that. The oldest one was born when I was 17. So anyway, what I found out is that the oldest son, who's all of his friends will say he's just like you, and he wasn't raised by me, but his number is exactly the same number. And it's very interesting because both sons have specific parts of me that they have that are really big parts of me, but it's the older one that has the exact same number. So you group together like that, I think. That's a great share. So how did you decide to use it as a tool then? Did you decide to take it outside of that, use it any other way?
No, not yet.
You'll be led to it. You'll be led. How about anybody else? Anybody else have want to share a word or two about the Dan Millman's The Life You Were Born to Live?
I just want to say I've used this book, just like you say, Robin. I've used it over the years, especially in the beginning when I think I was still in South Africa at the time when I first came across that. And I remember in those days, I just picked out I copied the numbers, or I even wrote them out. Actually, I think I typed them out. Because for me, what I've realized, it's not so much the same number as such, the final distilled number, but it's the number, the various numbers in order to get to the final distilled number. And we are all, and this is where, especially in a family unit, you come together because you're helping each other. Some of the guys, like in my case, I've got a 3 and a 9. Yeah. So I'm working the 9 and the 3, expression sensitivity. And the 9 is, what is it? Integrity and wisdom, to be the 12. Now, my husband, my partner, is working 3, 6. Now, where do I actually have, where do I and my partner sometimes have issues? On the 3, right? Because we're working the same number. Whereas, he is trying to become the 9, whereas I'm already working on it. So I can assist with that. And then Emma being a 3 and then 8, so she comes in with the abundance. And it's like, literally, she has a completely different level of abundance where we both look at her and like, wow, what can we learn through your weird ways of looking at stuff? So I would totally agree with that. And I think the other ways I have been using it as a tool to go back years after years and see, how far have I come? Oh my God, I have worked, I have implemented that, so what else is there that I can learn? And the other bit in the book, which is really cool, is those little tools he gives, the laws, right? The law of whatever laws now, I can't really remember, but looking at the laws, we can actually really use those and apply them. So it's a very hands-on, take it. It's not a woo-woo thing. It's nothing mystical, mysterious. It's just get the fuck on and do it.
That's so true. And I'm laughing because basically, if you add up anything in my birthday, it comes up to 3, right? And the total thing is 30. And 3 is the same thing as you're talking about, sensitivity and emotions, and also the 0, so the gifts. So it's just magnifying all that stuff. And in every field, no matter what it is, it magnifies that stuff. But yes, it's true. And, even though it adds up to 3, the different combination of 3 then brings in different energies for the people. Like if there are 1, 2, 3, all right, or if there are 3, 0, 3, it really, each one of those gives you a little bit clearer insight to somebody. And I'm thrilled that, everybody's sharing parts of it that they've, discovered and experienced, because, on our own, sometimes it may take us a lot longer to find out the variety of ways of which something can be utilized as a tool. either to look at what's going on now or look in hindsight or help prepare for, a better future. Great.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Or Martina, go ahead.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
You're good? Okay. So let's see. So what I wanted to do here, if you all are willing to do this, can we go around the room and around the Zoom room? And can you just put your name in the Zoom room today? Just say, hi, Alan's here, hi, Robin's here, whatever the case might be. And if there's something that has, that you either want to say or you've been thinking about or all right, just put something in the circle today. All right, verbally put something in the circle if you would. All right, who would like to start?
So
all right, go ahead,
right.
Martina.
Yeah, I'm gonna put an energy into the circle, and the energy is surprise.
Surprise. Cool. Surprise. Now let's take the surprise and let's take it be a surprise. You can smell a surprise sometimes, you can hear a surprise sometimes, you feel a surprise sometimes, you sense a surprise sometimes. So there's many levels of which we can embrace the surprise, even being surprised, giving a surprise to someone else, Cool. I like that word. All right. Who else? Who wants to go next?
I can read what people, Mary said, Mary, I'm Mary, and I'm blown in from the sea.
I think that that's a beautiful thing to put in today, because as we're watching the world events, being blown in from the sea. Wow, look at the riches that we could be bringing in with us from the sea. Look at where we've traveled and we've come across the seas and we're bringing it in with us. Oh my God, look at this vessel coming in from the sea. That nourishing flow of life, that life-giving body of water. What a wonderful thing. And everybody around the world is experiencing this in one way or another. So it's a marvelous energy to tap into because it can bring so much more revitalizing, reclaiming, rebirthing ourself with, without all those other things.
Yes,
right?
I agree, Robin. That's exactly how it feels. I feel blown away, but it's a good blowing away, and it's fabulous. And there's a wildness in the energy as well that I'm bringing in, because the sea was wild.
And when you can embrace, I can't help but think of the Bible story of, the sea is raging and Joshua stands up and he says, where's your faith? You're cowering. Why aren't you enjoying this? Embrace it, and I think that's exactly what we're trying to be told is, why are you cowering? You have the power. Embrace your power. Use it to help you, not suck you down. Cool. Oh, that's exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Who else would like to go next? Or if there's any other things on the chat thing, I can't read them.
Jennifer Stone is working on expansion.
Excellent. Expansion, Jennifer. Expansion. Jennifer, type me a word. Which area of expansion are you going through?
Definitely psychic abilities turning on, and the throat chakra is a good one for me. I was born with the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck 3 times.
Oh, yes.
So that's been a focal point for me for years, is loosening that, removing that restriction.
Yes. Okay, can we go into that for just a second?
Mhm.
Okay, I want you to imagine, and we can all kind of do this too in our own way and kind of assist or to allow it to help us, and any excess is always going out to help others around us. So you don't have to feel stingy. You don't have to feel like you're being, selfish, because in reality, any excess that you can't use is always shared with someone else. But I always put it verbally in my intent. So Jennifer, say that one more time again. So I put your energy instead of mine.
What part do you want me to say again?
Just that last sentence that you said to us.
That I have the umbilical, I'm removing the restriction of the cord around my neck.
Okay, so for all of us, imagine that you're looking inside of this mother and you have a vision that you can see, whether it's just vibrationally, whether it's sensory by heat, whether it's by emotionally picking up the emotions of the being inside. If you have like an x-ray, if you have like a medical vision, whatever gift way you have to see within this being. And this being can be you at another time, in another lifetime. And one of the things that popped up is that umbilical cords around the neck, one, can try to slow us down. Two, can try to cut us off. Three, could try to take our life away from us. Four, make it so that we're afraid to talk always, because as we speak, we feel it tightening and we're afraid for our breath and that we won't be able to speak. All right. So for right now, Jennifer, imagine, if you would, that are you comfortable in water? Like if you're in a pool or a lake or something, are you comfortable just to like float for a few minutes in the water, Jennifer?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay, so let's imagine that there's a floating going on, okay? A floating going on. And that as you're floating, you realize that your hair has gone across your throat, okay? Oh, okay. And just you reach up and just with the brush of the water, it allows the untangling around your neck. Imagine that you've just come through a horrible windstorm and everything is wrapped around you, just being thrown all over. You feel like you're being knotted up. And then you remember that that too will end. And as the wind stops, things will fall away. And so feel it falling away. Imagine that you're sitting by the fire and the smoke comes and it whirls around your head and you're not really watching, and you're breathing and you can't breathe for a second. I want you to imagine that you're somewhere and somebody's put something around your throat deliberately. But you know that regardless of how that ends, this is just a vehicle. And you know in this consciousness that this vehicle is just one of the many suits hanging in your closet. And when you take this suit out, you can put another suit on. And you just let it go. Don't resist it. Don't fight it. Just let it go. And know that by you allowing it, you're saying to all experiences around you that you are totally believing 100% that you are a mighty, radiant, cosmic being, and that you have the ability to see all of these restrictions as a way to bring you back to your awareness of your full power. So just imagine You put your hand up there. And you're just cleaning anything away that might be there from another time. All right. Just another time. Another time with a different ending. Yet they're all chapters within the story of evolution, of evolving. And this is a time period now when all of those things are being brought out and we're seeing them, we're dealing them. So we can now together with our power here say, all things too shall pass. All things, when our attention is taken away, dissolves, falls away, dissipates. So with that, exhale.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you for helping, Jennifer. All right, next on the line, who else? Who is ready to give me their name and a word?
Caitlin, feeling excited today with potential new opportunities are flowing in.
Good, Caitlin. I see your wonderful water there, Caitlin. Do you like being on top of the water, moving across the water, Caitlin?
That's a yes.
Okay, so with Caitlin, tell her I'm being shown like, it's almost like a canoe or a riverboat of some kind, a very old riverboat. Riverboat. You may have been back during the glacial, after the glacials on the boats traversing across the lands, Caitlin. You have a lot more to bring. Anytime that you can get out around the water, just do a little thank you ceremony for the spirits of the water, okay? They have a lot more to share with you. All right, who's next?
Lana, I am bringing in the newest comet coming into the solar system in a few days. Loads of light, ancient travels, and long, long tail. Comet Leonard.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yes, traveling through space, we leave, going from one universe to another, going from one galaxy, whatever. We leave a trail behind us. And the comet is a wonderful way to see that we leave bits and pieces behind us where we go, no matter what we're doing. We're always emitting. We're always emitting photons. We're always emitting that light, that feeling, that emotion. And so we are, as we move through life, we are like that comet. We are always leaving information that's there and available for others, always. And one of the things right now that the symbolism of the comet streaking through space is that so many of those natural things that we have around us are being presented to us in a very one-sided, very heavy, very fear in lockdown, tie up, knot you up vibration. And so Lana, by bringing in that comet with the beautiful tail that we can all envision right now, imagine that during our dream time for the next 12 days, perhaps, or 15 days, imagine that during our dream time that we all, for just a few moments, in fact, can see ourselves as we're racing through the cosmos. During the event of 2017 that Andrew had in Seattle, SeaTac, Washington. In Florida, we were getting a Category 5 hurricane come straight at us. And 2 days ahead of time, the electricity went out and we had no idea where the storm was, how big it was, what it was doing, or anything else. And during that time frame, I got some tremendous downloads and standing shoulder to shoulder to shoulder, as far as I could see, front and back with grandmothers, you know. But the other thing is right after that, they had me whirling through the cosmos. I mean, virtually like Mach 10 or something, you know. And it was so fast moving through the stars and the cosmos that I literally felt like I was going to be nauseous. But Lana, your message is reminding me of all of those things. And after, on the way home from the event, my brother picked me up from the airport in Florida to drive me back. And the whole sky was like a huge code. It was like the bottom of the Starship Enterprise, but it was all broken and it was all patterns and pieces and stuff. And there was such a huge download. And from that time on, things really have changed. And so much of the things have been targeted since really stepping up 2012, 13, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, each escalating to shut us down, to clamp off our tails. So the other tail, Lana, that they want to remind us to use is that tail that we have during our days of evolution, when we had that tail, you know, the tail down behind us, that tail that supported us like the kangaroo. And, you know, and at times to sit and think and to remember that we too have that tail that we can hang from, that we can brush things around, that can support us, that we can back up on, that we can wrap around things, that we can thunk against something, that we can lift and protect ourselves. So all of these things that are being brought in have been being used in a way to cramp us, to make us believe a narrative of untruths about who we are. And so this comet is to remind us to be, and to not to be, but to allow, to accept the fact that we too are those cosmic light events going on. Okay. Alrighty. All right, moving on. Who would like to go
Thanks,
next?
Robin.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Lana.
That's a great explanation. I also like to think of the tail as, you know, how a monkey would use its tail to swing from branch to branch.
Yes, yes.
It's a great concept as well. And also, I see the tail as sweeping, as it's traveling through the cosmos. It's sweeping the debris, the ancient debris and things like that, and sort of like cleaning the cosmos of ancient karma, bringing in
yes.
the resolution of universal karma to
Yes. They're giving you a big hug on that one. Yes, that one is very, very so. Yes, wonderful.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you. All right, who else?
I like that hug.
Okay, Tanya.
So I think it's really interesting that there's so much talk about the storm today, because in the galactic calendar, today is the storm, the galactic storm.
Is
And
it
it's
really?
guided by abundance. And
Yes.
so, you know, Marie being blown in from the sea and talking about the rain and the storming, and you know, the storm that you were just talking about in Florida, and how it brings in, you know, washes away, you know, it excavates the old. And what I've been working on is excavating some old layers of fear around owning my power that kind of were triggered last week by a weird incident that happened to me. And so today I want to just kind of continue on that journey of allowing the storm to wash away the old that's not needed anymore, right? To be able to look at it, to see it, right? To bring those layers up to the surface and just say, thank you. Thank you for the lesson. You can blow away with this storm that's rolling through today.
Oh, that is, I mean, I last year here, the winter started the 1st of November and it didn't stop until really spring was like becoming summer. And the wind last year, you're right. And all the trees and the wetness and the trees were just toppling over. And you'd look out into the woods and there'd be like, you know, it looked like a disaster area. And, you know, everywhere but I kept saying and hearing, but all of those trees trying to grow in one area were blocking their own ability to thrive. And so it cleaned out and it allowed, what I saw it doing was the wind came in like a huge cleanup and it pushed over those that needed to fall over. And it allowed them to contact with the ground so they could then decompose and allow the younger ones to come up without all of the old boundaries and limitations, you know, all that, you know. So it's I love that. I mean, I think that is one of the best ways to view change, is that it allows that which is ready to decompose and not be held with our thought form anymore, and to allow it to return to the darkness so that it can then come back in a new form, you know, instead of being trapped in the old one. Very cool. Very cool. All right, anybody else? Let's see. How about Alfredo? Has he said anything?
I was kind of cooking, but yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
All right.
I've gone through a lot of changes too, but they're a little different.
Yeah.
Or I forget the chat. But yeah, mostly for me, it's just like slowing down and embracing more of the silence, and I haven't really had the urge to do too much, or I feel like my body is just adjusting to the slowing down that I've been doing. So more about embracing the silence and less doing, more just existing and being. That's been my common theme right now.
Yeah, I think, Alfredo, that's a great way to describe being in the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you do that, you allow yourself just to be here now. You know, you're not worrying about what you should or you shouldn't or have to. You're just being. And to me, that really is being in the flow. So that's cool. And especially now, we've had so much noise around us the last 10, 15 years, 20 years. You know, we were trying to reconnect to that silence again and be okay with it. So I think it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I think I've been just too caught up in the stimulation of everything going on, and got to remember the silence. It used to be a master of silence, just being like this meditative guru on the top of a rock, just sitting there for hours on end, doing nothing, saying nothing, just going back to that. You know?
Yeah, and you know, when we do that it's cool. But the other thing is right now, because you've done that lots of lifetimes. So right now, what you're doing is you're finding the happy medium to be able to go to that quiet space and re-embrace it again. But know that in this lifetime, you don't have to stay there, and you can still bring that with you and participate in life, like you're cooking and all that stuff, you know, and you're driving and you're still listening. It's like you're bringing that silence off from the mountain, you know, out of the hermit's cave. And you're bringing it with you and saying, I can use it when I need to. It's always there to me, for me to embrace. So I think that's a very important message for many, many, many people these days.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Everybody else gets to enjoy the peace because they feel it too. And yeah.
Absolutely. You know, you're like a little what do they call them? Dominoes. You're like a little domino, because when you go out
Yeah.
and you're walking in that peace, regardless of whether you realize it or not, the people that you interact with, you know, even if you just smile at them or, you know, waved, or, you know, that energy is given and it's received. We don't realize how much of our existence is based on sharing and giving energy that we've been told to ignore and that doesn't exist.
Yeah. No, it's funny you say that. Yeah, because I had like, I think like yesterday, the day before yesterday, but yeah, just like going to work because I just didn't really feel like talking to anybody. I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna go in. And usually I'm always like all over the place talking to everybody, but I was like, you know, just stay in my space, and everybody's just playing out their, you know, they're reflecting all the things I do, and I don't even have to do too much because everything's just happening for me, because just being in that space, that peace. It's cool to see the unfoldment without even saying anything, just seeing everything unfold in front of you and just being aware of it, like what I have created, and it's being reflected to me, and it's embracing that too. The receiving too, I guess you could say.
Yes, because when you're in that flow, you understand that, you know, it's like that breath. When you exhale, you're giving breath to someone else. And when you inhale, you're giving breath to yourself. But then you're also giving breath to and life to everything that's within you too, that might come. So we really, we're an energy system that is always interacting. You know, we give, we take back, we push, we pull. The more we push, the more we get smacked back. You know, the more we pull it, the more we have to hold on as it pulls away from us. But if we can stay in a little more neutral spot a little more of the time, you know, we can stay in that flow of things and watch and see and just take in and be part of. And therefore, we don't have to be the main star, the main, you know, thing all day. It's just, you know, at those points. So it's a very valid, very good way that more people are being awoke to embrace right now. Yeah. Your light is just going. Yeah, not the one above you, the one from inside of you. Appreciate that, Alfredo. Thank you. All right, let's see, who else hasn't gone yet? Alan, can you want to say one word and put a new word in there, or are you good for now?
I think I'm good for now.
All right. And how about is that Irina? Who's down there? Irina, how about you today?
I'm so sorry. I missed beginning, family issue, not issue, but discussion. I had to participate. And I'm still trying to understand what's happening now. I just came to your discussion. So I'm so sorry. I don't understand what's happening yet. I will a little bit later. I will.
That's okay. What I would like you to do, if you would right now, is I would just like you to put a word into just as if you were coming into the group at the very beginning, and you just tell me, hi, I'm, you know, Irina, and this is what I brought today, or this is what I'm thinking today, or this is what I feel today. Just put a word in.
Okay. It's interesting day today, and I feel like change in the air.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I think that's a really big one, but I think that's also a heavy one right now. And
I don't feel heavy. I don't feel heavy. My change in the air, it's very bright and very shining, actually. That's how I feel.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
heavy.
Yes. Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that. I was just saying that that is good for us because we've been experiencing the opposite of it, is what I was saying. So what I'm saying is that I think that is a very great thing to say, because people around the world have been feeling these changes. And because we didn't have experiences with them now, we were unsure of where they were going or what they were going to bring us. And so the message today that I'm bringing is to stay, not to stay, but to be, just to be. And, you know, like thinking about this Zoom today and what we were going to do. And Spirit was adamant, just stay in the flow, stay in the now. Don't worry about it. What will need to come will come. And so whether we came in at the beginning or we were late, or we were thinking about it all week and didn't know if we made any progress, all of us bring in a new energy that we now can take and we can look at and we go, oh, I didn't look at it like that before. Huh. I wonder what it can do. Let's see. What can it bring? So, I know some of you brought your rattles, some of you brought your drums. Some of you would like to make some sound together. Martina, if you're open to it, and everybody is open to it, if you have something that you would like to rattle with, drum with,
It's Robin, the only thing I'm saying is, remember when we did it last time, sometimes it gets a little bit lost in the recording.
yeah, so what I want to do is first, everybody turn your mic on, because that's one thing we didn't do before. Okay, and we're only going to do it for a couple of minutes. Okay, we'll just try it and see how it goes. Because Martina, and listening to it back time, that was the one thing I noticed, is that a lot of people had their speakers off instead of the speaker on. And so you heard me come in and out with other people, but I just want to see if we can do it. I've done it before with a different group, and we all took our speakers and we unmuted them, and we all did it for just a little bit. So let's see, Tanya has hers off, Martina has hers off, Ellen has hers off. Okay.
Okay, well, let's unmute and then let's rattle along.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna start with a beat. All right.
Okay.
Anybody join me?
Fading out a bit.
As we join here, give us in our own little spot, making your own little music. whether you're joining us or you're just listening. These sounds going out worldwide. We're all connecting. We're all weaving. Sound. Sound. Sound goes out in all directions. Here come Bets. Embraces us. Heals. Dissolves. Dissolves. Can anybody feel? Can anybody feel? Do you feel anything that just happened? Anybody? I see somebody nodding their head down there. When we do these things, obviously these are things that are better in person, and obviously something you can do on your own. And there's, you know, as Andrew has said many, many, many times, that at the time of healing, everybody needs to step forward and be their own master and be the healer that they came to be. And all of the connections and all the interactions and all the empowerments where we can come as a group and co-create together help fortify us each individually, then to go out and walk our steps, meet those people that we're supposed to meet, touch those people that we're supposed to touch in their heart space and their emotions. And so when I lead a gathering, I'm there as a conduit, just as if I was giving you a personal healing session or a counseling session. I'm here to celebrate you, to celebrate us, to celebrate what is being recreated, being renewed with newness. And it's taking us back into a fuller, wholer, more holy version of ourselves. One that we agreed that we would forget by coming in. And Irina was so strong on that point with her session. We all have something so valuable to bring and to offer. And as we learn and as we grow and as we empower ourselves every day, that we make some small stride forward, we allow our whole universe to change with us and around us. And, you know, when we can gather with a group of people and we're smiling, we've got, you know, we can show that expression on our face. And when it's time to say goodbye, you leave with a feeling of goodness, of something more fulfilling that has happened. Then know that we've been in the flow and that together we've created something that will go on and spark other things in all of our lives, but more importantly, worldwide and through the whole cosmos. because there is no boundary between us and that. It's just different, rates of vibration of what's your awareness and what you can see now. If I'm driving in the car and I'm going at 30 because I know that that's what I have to drive through the mountains, I'm going to go at 30, right? But if I get on a downhill slope and it's really, I can really gain up, I could go 100 miles an hour if I really wanted, Everything is at our fingertips. And what we're being encouraged to do is to embrace as many of our own limitations as we can and kind of chuckle at them and say, maybe I can change that a little bit. Maybe I can change that a little bit. And by that happening, every person that I talk to, or every person I touch, or every person I see, or every place I go can now be the benefit and give to me as well as I can leave there. We get to become a bigger recipe, a bigger fireworks show, a bigger crescendo, We get to really celebrate us, every one of us here now. And that every one of us here now has something very special that they came to do. And we're here now with me speaking, with spirit flowing, to encourage every one of us to embrace that and to do that as much as we can. And to be it. And also not just being it, but don't be afraid of showing it, of sharing it, of expanding it. I was out in the public a lot in the 80s and the 90s and early 2000s. I mean, I was doing so many things at a time. And then I kept getting closed. I can't do that, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that, can't do. And I had to learn, Alfredo, how just to be every day, not going anywhere, not necessarily doing anything, not necessarily participating in life, only where I could walk and what I could do personally, and I had to be okay with that. And I had to fill my day up 24 hours a day with that. And year after year, for about 8 or 9 years, I had to learn how to just be. And it's very different when you're used to going and leading and participating. So we really are co-creating. And every time I see you guys, you in one way or another help me co-create, even if we don't have personal communication at that time. You all put out an energy that I can feel, that we all can receive, and we can all now say namaste. I see in you the divine, and you allow me to experience the divine. And I am so blessed by you all. And thank you.
Thanks for saying that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Robin. Beautiful. Beautifully put.
That's cool.
I so appreciate all y'all and the way that co-creative energy comes together. And there's a sense of curiosity and a sense of play, right? Mm-hmm. And yeah. I think each one of us in our own way brings that. I
think it's when we can go with the play, not be as scared that we have to do it this way or that way, and that we're not afraid to have a little fun. We're not afraid to have a little joy in it. You know, that excitement of joy takes the amount of energy that's being used and like multiplies it, you know, it's like it changes the amount of energy that we can then bring out and use. And that is truly, truly an amazing thing. Cool.
So this is a very interesting Zoom today. We're going with the flow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea where you wanted to take that, what you want to do with this. And it seems like we've ended up in that space of being.
And so what does that mean to you in that space of being?
Yeah, in that space of being. So in that space of being, there's a complete unknowingness. Where's she gonna take this? What is going on? What are we gonna, you know? And what you've just said, that lovely energy that you've just so nicely described, has made me actually think of, without differentiation, without obviously competition or anything, looking at us here on this Zoom. There is that sense of being. There is that sense of authenticity that I am perceiving from every single one of us here. We don't consider ourselves super duper high qualified teacher, even though we all are. There is this laissez-faire style. Let's get on and, you know, do whatever it takes and just go with that energy. And being the space for every single one of us without infringing. It's almost like I had to really, you know, I have dropped completely my barriers. It's almost like that space of, I wouldn't say calm, completely calm. Just let's see where this leads us. And I like where it led us. It led us in this space of being where everything can arise. Now, I brought in the energy of surprise. That was a bit of a surprise.
Isn't that marvelous?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And everybody brought in a different word or a different energy or a different thing, but yeah, it all gives a flavor to the final product. I mean, if I'm gonna make some good chili or some good scalloped potatoes or something like that, you know, I'm paying attention to the ingredients. I'm paying attention to like how much I'm doing and what I'm doing, and I'm adding some love as I'm doing it, man. I know that when you cook, if you don't add that love to it, you don't have nothing. So I think it's marvelous, Martina, that every one of you had a little bit different something, and yet it all fit. It all was part of it, you know?
Well, it's almost like it created that soup of being by bringing, everyone brought an ingredient in, and we didn't know what we were cooking at the time, right?
Yes.
And you know, the other thing is because it is not an easy energy to bring a group together at the moment. I don't know if you perceive that too, is because when I look at certain things, I look at certain groups at the moment, and to be honest, there is nothing to be said, really. Right?
Yes.
There is nothing to be said because it is really such an invitation to do that in the journey. And we don't necessarily want to talk about the old self-mastery and everything. And we don't necessarily want to make predictions because that we can't really. That's masturbation, mental. Yeah. And some of it, so it's quite interesting. It's not easy to do, as far as I'm concerned at the moment, to bring something up that is actually just a chat where everyone is equal, where everyone is just says whatever they say, and and everyone is the space.
Mhm.
And that's what I like about this group.
I think that's some great words to share, and that everybody really deserved to hear. That everybody brings to the table, and everybody has something to offer. And the circle is always big enough to allow everyone that space. That's the thing I like. It's always big enough to allow everyone to have their own space.
And it also, and that's what I like, because I like contrast at the same time. I don't like same. I like triggers. I like inspirations. I like looking at different things. And just the fact that we're just being can be a trigger for people too. Because some people probably watch this and say, so where are we going with this? Well, we didn't know where we're going. We ended up in being. Now we can define being more, but I'm shutting up now because it's your show. So you carry on. You take it where you want to take it. I just wanted to share that.
I really value your words, because they talk to all of those that are connected to you and that came to hear what you had to say. And I think it's allowing us all to take part and actively participate, so that we can go out and maybe do this more fully in the rest of our lives too. So I do think that every time that you gather together, I had he's become a friend now, and I've known him since 2000, but he used to come pretty regular to my groups, and he said to me, he says, well, Robin, don't you think that this is kind of like a little sap, or a little, and I go, well, why would you say that? He goes, well, because they all admire you, and I go, Roman, I said, I pat myself on the shoulder for about 2 seconds, and then I realized that it was we together that created what happened. We together, with what we brought in this space of now, created it. I'm simply one catalyst out of it. I'm just a conduit, and it is the totality of everybody that creates it. And he kind of looked at me and he kind of went, and I said, unfortunately, that's the truth of it. I may pat myself on the back, say, yeah, good job, for about 2 or 3 seconds. And then the reality sinks in that it was a joint effort, that it's us all participating, and it does one good to look at oneself and pat self on back. It's good to do that. We need to know that we are doing what makes us feel good, and so it's not a bad thing to do. But again, I understand that it's a joint effort. It's everybody's energy. And so when we come, Martina, it's like I'm always waiting to find out what kind of soup, or what soup it's going to taste like at the end. Is it going to taste like a delicious French onion soup, or is it going to be a robust stew? I mean, I can't wait to see what will be happening. Yes. So let's see. Hermosa. Let's see. I'm not saying Hermania.
Yes,
How are you?
hello.
How are you today?
Oh, I feel grateful because every time I plan to be in this meeting, it's like a battle for me to be together with you. And today I decided to stay home, don't go out to do anything, because, my business take me to different directions sometimes suddenly. And then today make my mind, I had to be here, because last week I was in, trying to help in something with the house. I'm selling having like a nightmare. However, today I said I don't want to just relax and stay in the house to be able to be here today. It's like, wow.
We're glad to have you here.
Yes, yes, we're so glad.
Thank you. Happy that I made it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Everybody's, we don't think about it, but everybody that's named that I can see on the screen, even though I can't see everybody's faces, every one of you helped this creation, really.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because now it came to my mind. I even forgot about that. I was in the hospital 2000. I don't even remember. It was like a 2007, 2006. Or something like that. And the doctor, they couldn't find out. I was 3 days. I'm in the hospital. They did all kind of tests. They couldn't find out anything on me. The last text that the doctor said, well, your blood pressure is better than mine. Your sugar is better than mine. It was like, you don't have anything. He said, maybe you had just stress. And then he just take like a baby aspirin. And then after they've been in the hospital, they don't find anything. The only thing I got in my head was like, I want to have like I want to be like in a table, lay down in there like an Indian circle, and then playing the drums for me.
Yes.
And then when I went to my house, I find out a CD that called the Air Heart Beat, something like that. It was a CD, and then I went to the spiritual store and I got it. And I was for 3 days sleeping in my living room, listening to that CD all night long for three nights. And then after that, I was like, give me like a shift energy that helped me to overcome in the hole I was in that time, because it was the feeling that my heart was failing and I couldn't breathe. And sometimes I had to get out of the bed and just go outside and look at the moon and, trying to figure out what's happening, because they couldn't find anything on me. And then just listening to that CD helped me to overcome whatever was happening. It's very nice that I remember that now, because I completely forgot about it. That was more than 15 years ago, I believe. Yeah. I have to remember 2006. Yeah.
And you can, I don't want to interrupt your flow, but you can also, if you don't have anything to drum with, you can make drums. You can get some sticks and use sticks. You can take plastic containers, make good little drums to beat on, even your own hand. But you're bringing up a very important thing. And one of we would drum every Sunday. We would gather at the 12th step, and we would many times put people in the center, and we would drum around them to promote healing. And it's a marvelous thing. So you're being reminded of this also, not only just to listen to someone else doing it, but that you can also do that yourself, for yourself. Take yourself into your own meditative, rejuvenating, all right. So you can also empower yourself by doing it for yourself.
I had to put it out, because I have even one that was designed by the Indian shaman he lived in California. He used to do ceremony when I was living in Miami. And then I bought one from him. It cost me at that time it was a lot of money for me, like $100 for a drum, it was a
yes.
And I had a few more. I just had to put it out because they are just, somewhere in the house. I had to put it out. I guess I might get my knowing now is that I have to maybe reconnect with that energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, when you make a drum, the first drum I bought, I think was like $55, but after that, they were close to 100. And I've made a few and given many away, but the time and the energy, the first time I bought it, I said the same thing. It felt like I was spending a lot of money, but once I had it, and I got scalded, and I used it for healing. I would do it for myself so that I would get into that meditative zone of being receptive. and, you know, and allow this pain, instead of working against me, work with me, you know.
Yeah.
But so you're being reminded, and you're reminding all of us to take our tools and use them personally for us too.
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. Beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah.
So this is maybe an opportunity to for anyone who wants to ask questions to Robin about her instruments, and you know, whatever else you want to ask her about the work. We know a little bit more now what she's doing, so feel free to take this opportunity now, unless Robin, you got anything else planned.
No, I just really, you know, I kept asking Spirit and myself, and I kept thinking, you know, going through my mind of what I could do, and Spirit's going, no, 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 no. And I'm going, you're making me nervous. And they said, you know how to do this. And I said, okay, okay. So I'm totally open to questions. If anybody wants to ask me anything about what I do, what I've done, my training, anything, I'm open to it. Sure.
Yeah, well, my question would be like, because I see when I log in, it was, you just already explained what you're going to do. However, I was remember now because I got the companion stick from the guy that we had in Zoom a few months ago. I can't remember his name now. And what do you do with the drum? It's almost similar like that, like a companion for our process, you know, our own spiritual journey, something like that you do?
The drumming,
Mhm.
yes, you can, you know, this one I made in when my 33-year-old was about 3 or 4 years old. Okay, that's how old this one is. And you know, I do have this is the beater I made for this one.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on where you hit the drum, you get a different sound, you get a different vibration.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't hold the beater tightly, it allows the beater to move more freely. Okay?
Yes.
You can also use your fingers on it. And the thing about it is that you can do it so that the vibrations are coming down on you. You can do it so the vibrations are coming back at you. There are many ways in which you can use your drum. And depending on the diameter of it will change the sound of it. Sometimes they get a little flat sounding if there's a lot of water, a lot of humidity in the air. But you can wrap it in a blanket for a few minutes beforehand. You can set it by something warm for a while. But it really is a tool. It's a tool to communicate. It's a tool to heal with. It's a tool to pray with. You know, the limitations are our own limitations.
Yeah.
Did that help or answer any more of your question?
Yeah, that's good that you said, because there is no limitation there. Like they said, the only limitation that we have is that we have the program that we are limited. That our speech are limited.
Yes.
That's the challenge to accept that we don't have limitation.
Right. And so like you could, since you enjoyed the music that you were playing, you could even take your drums and you could say, if you've got more than one drum, you can say, which one is calling me? Which one wants to participate? And you can actually take it out and you can actually drum with the one that you were listening to. You can co-create with them then. All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Robin, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So my question is, I'm always attracted to the bass sound. It doesn't matter what instrument it is. As long as it has a bass sound, I'm attracted to it. Is there a reason why people are attracted to certain sounds, certain tones? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think that there's a couple of things that I could share on that. I think one of the reasons that we're drawn to specific frequencies is that I think that they probably are in more resonance with our own frequency. You know, so they feel familiar, or they make us feel good. You know, that vibration comes in. Maybe it allows the molecules to move just a little bit within our beingness, that we now can feel that sense of joy and happiness, where before maybe they were misaligned a little bit and we couldn't quite get there. Okay. So I do think that, you know, and depending on our DNA skin suit that we have, you know, and it's not the same always as our brothers and our sisters and our mothers and our fathers, because we get a combination of stuff, plus we're carrying our own. But I think that that certain tones, certain vibrations, they've been connected to different things during our evolution, perhaps here on the earthly plane. And so I think what they do is maybe they remind us, maybe they reconnect us, maybe they recharge us. Maybe they're just allowing us to embody and be in us and be, you know, without all the to all the disguises or all the barriers or all the things we may put up to hide ourselves or to hide behind. I think that when we hear frequencies that we just really like feel good, we makes us smile, make us feel happy. I think that they're at that moment, at least, they're just helping to fill up some low areas. You know, it's just like a feeding. And I do think that a part of it has to do with where we've been in the world, where we've been as far as with groups of people, where we've been in our experiences of the world. Because, you know, if we have had many lives and we've basically covered most of the continents of the world, there are probably some areas that we were in longer than other areas. And they have a deeper meaning for us. But, you know, perhaps in today's now, it's allowing that to become a better vibration, you know, so it allows it to meld into a new flavor, a new strength, a new revitalization. And so I think that deep sounds, a lot of people say the deep sounds remind them of earth, and that the higher sounds reminds them more of cosmic realms. And, you know, if the deep tones are resonating with you, personally right now, I'm hearing just to really embrace being here on earth, embrace being here now, embrace your possibilities, you know. Let it unfold you, let it hold you, let it support you to go out and do what you need to do. Is that
everything? Yeah. I feel like the bass sound like really grounds you to the ground, you know, to the earth. Because when you're hearing it, it feels like when you're dancing and your feet hits the ground, it gets that thud sound all the time. And as you were saying, maybe in past lives, maybe I've lived someplace on the planet where maybe I spend a lot of time, I don't know, where that was part of my embracing that civilization or the soul family that I was around or something. Or
yes, and as you're as you're speaking, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Yeah.
As you're speaking, I was seeing you like in Australia or something like that. You're actually like doing, they called it like a thunder dance, but it was a stomping of the feet, and the vibration, you know, it was like with each stomp, the vibration was being put back into the earth, and like you were communicating through that stomping. So that you're right on there. You've got a good lead there.
Interesting. I've never connecting to Australia. That's a new one for me.
Yeah, I thought that when you start talking, I remind myself of Australia, about the one of the island that Andrew said that island can be transport to another place in the galaxy in Australia, and then I remember that when you start talking about
Australia and Hawaii right now. Well, not just right now, but they really are two very magical places besides the poles. And so interesting that it came up. But yeah, they're kind of magical portals. Yeah, they're very connected, I think, with some of the truer ancient lineages that really have been here for very long.
Yes, one of the videos that I share, I think maybe it would be good for her to look at it, that he was explaining about how those native from Australia, they dance and then when they dance, they bring like the energy. It was like a teletransportation, dancing and step it in their foot, and then they bring the vibration higher, and the area can be transformed to another places in galaxy and universe, multi-universe and multi-levels of experience. And that's why I think one of the things that you mentioned.
Yes, and I'm glad that you said it, because you reminded me of one of the movies that they actually made where they were kind of alluding to that. And so if there's any information that you can share with her about that, where she could find it, that'd be great. But yeah.
I think I saved it in my library when I ended, because it was so interesting. I'm going to look forward, and then I'll share it in later on, maybe in the Facebook with Martina, and then she can share it.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Thanks, Harmenia. I do remember him saying that Australia is a spaceship, and that's how it can take off and go into other places, spaces in the universe, and transport, you know, life forms and things like that. So yeah, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
And I do believe Andrew has said so many things on what you were saying, Harmenia. I believe I've heard something, but it might have been a very old show where he.
Yes, I think it's like in 1914, because one of the guy that he said, I remember he said, I can't believe it that I'm talking about a place that is like a spaceship, international galaxy spaceship, something like that. He said, you blow my mind, the guy said. It was like in the 1914 that he did that.
2014.
Yes, yeah, I think it was, 2014, I'm sorry, not 19. 2014, sorry. Yeah, I will look forward, and so I can find it, and I will share it, because it's a very how he explained it. Very interesting.
Yeah. I think I remember hearing that in the Galactic History 2 recordings.
Whatever
now that you guys are, whoops, go ahead, Martina.
I was just saying, whatever you find, we can add it. Once I put the recording up of this replay, you can maybe add it in the chat there.
Yeah, now that you guys are all talking, Tanya, I did just flash on listening to Andrew talking about that one time. But it wasn't my consciousness, but yeah, it was definitely a dancing, and it was definitely creating. I guess it reminds me a bit of the scene of the Celestine prophecy too, where they're separating densities, and going to a field that they can be seen or not seen. And yeah, it's kind of creating that spaceship with the vibration. Interesting.
But I think it's interesting too that the Aboriginal people are also very connected to dream time.
Oh,
right?
yes.
I mean, I know we've all talked about dream time a little bit before, but this sort of like visioning and waking state of being able to connect with the dreamtime energy. And I think the drum really can bring us there also.
Yes, yes. And the dream time, it's really, you know, if you think about it, Australia and New Zealand and Easter Island and actually Hawaii too, they were very big on sharing dream time. And when people would get together, they would sleep together, you know, and they would, when they would greet each other, they would like touch their foreheads because that's the dreaming body, you know. There's a, and some of the pure time frames that we had, some of those things were very, very important, very part of life, very, very big in the experiential part of living. So it's a great thing. All right, what else have we got?
In the Australian art, what you see a lot are these sort of like circles, right? These sort of, and sometimes they call them water holes, but they also, you know, sometimes like will light fire in the center. And then once you're inside that circle, that's the entrance to the dreamtime space.
Oh, cool.
Just like, you know, creating any type of alchemical circle, I guess.
Yes, and when they would dream and they would gather and do dream time together, from my understanding is that they would form a circle, but they would form a circle by their heads all being in the center and their feet being in the outside radius of it. So they would physically create a circle too. So, you know, that would put them in that proximity during dream time. Has anybody ever lived near someone and you found that you were going in their dreams or they were coming in your dreams? No, I called him my spiritual brother. We did drumming together for a couple of years and he lived within probably a mile. And during that time frame that he was that close to me, I would be popping in his dream, so he would be popping in my dream. But as soon as one of us moved so that the distance was further, it no longer was happening. So it really gave me the information that our dream times do mesh when we're within a certain vicinity of other people. And so, you know, we can be affected by that. You know, it can be good for us, you know, so. I'm not quite sure who wants to hear that, but there it is.
Well, I want to share, you reminded me of a dream I had some years ago where I tuned in, I guess in my dream time, to a being that was living in the seventh dimensional layer of my yard where I live. And I ran into him in dream time, and he was walking with his picnic basket, going to have his lunch or something. And we ran into each other, and I brought into dream time my reality. So I was seeing buildings and things like that. And he said to me, "What am I doing here?" And we started to get into this conversation, and it's been a while, so I don't remember too much of the dream right now, but it turned out that he was living on the seventh dimensional layer of where I live, and it's all a forest area, layered on top of each other. So that's one of my most fascinating dreams I've ever had. And you just reminded me of that.
Well, you're being reminded for a reason. Recall when Andrew would talk about all the different species in the earth and in inner earth and things like that. And he would talk about them living in spaces. And then I came out the one time and said that, it's not, we're not way out there. It feels that way, but we're, it's because of the vibrational difference. So one of the things that is kind of being shown to me right now is to bring into our awareness the fact that when we're walking on this plane right here, right now, we can see what we see. Sometimes other things fade in and fade out, there are times I'll go outside and it's like, oh, where is everything? And it'll be like this purple blue, this really deep dark. And it's just like somebody's hung a veil over it. And it's like nothing else exists, just that dimension. And so what I'm hearing is that as things unfold for us now in this time frame, that we all are going to be experiencing in one way or another different vibrational levels, we call them dimensions, but it's just different vibrational areas. And sometimes it can cause you to question yourself, or question what you're seeing, or get a little shaky about it. But really what we're trying to remember is that in order to get here into this physical form, we had to change our vibration, change our vibration, change our vibration, change our vibration, change our vibration until we got to the point where we could be 3D too. But we also exist on these faster vibrations. We're not just limited here on this physical plane. So I think that that's what it's reminding us to do, is to remember, as Andrew has said, about the inner earth, that there are whole civilizations, whole universes and packed in little molecule space, that we are now being exposed to and being asked to embrace the fact that we ourselves exist on many dimensions, but really just vibrational fields.
Yeah, it's fascinating, all of it.
Very fascinating.
And it's great, and it's great that we are coming into this awareness now. 20, 30 years ago, we had no idea about any of this. But since Andrew's brought this new information to us that has always been there, we've come into so much more new knowledge, which is really ancient knowledge, but for us it seems new. And it's so fascinating and interesting, especially when he talks about a whole civilization could be living in one tiny little molecule of space. I find that so fascinating.
The thing that I'm shown is Dr. Seuss's Horton Hears a Who, and recently the thing kind of floated by again. But I chuckled and I said, yeah, it's so true, because Horton was hearing something and he was like looking at this dandelion or whatever it was. And he's finally realizing that there's a whole civilization down on the tip of the, little thing. And so we too are being invited to embrace the fact that there's a whole spectrum of vibrations, our brilliant sphere of light has many levels of vibration, and therefore we can act with many dimensions. And so, let's be a little more open to how magnificent and how far-reaching and how many vibrational fields we actually do interact with.
Yes, I remember seeing that movie, and I was associating that movie with what he was talking about, the beings living in this tiny space. So that anyone who never saw that movie should go and watch it. It's a very interesting movie.
Yes, and it really gives us the ability to stand in a state of surprise. So like, wait, what? What? It really is it? Wait a minute, could this be? So it's a wonderful thing.
What's the name?
Horton Hears a Who. HORTON. Horton Hears Who, WHO.
Oh, wow.
It's more of a kids movie.
Oh, definitely. It's made in animation. Yes.
Yeah,
cartoon.
it's funny because most of the truth they put in those kids cartoon or movie in this because people say I don't pay attention, I think. Because when I saw the movie How to Train the Dragons, I saw, how from that movie I learned to have compassion for everybody and not just, see everybody that we are in the same mess and everybody doing whatever they can with what they know. When I saw in the last thing of the How to Train the Dragon, the number one, when all those little dragon was stealing the fish from the village, it was to feed the huge monster of dragon. And I said, we are killing one another here and fighting for employment and for all the stuff and for food and for car and all the thing. It just to feed like a huge monster that is live from us. That was fascinating how I saw that. And another one was I think the ant that was like that they had to collect all this food for this I don't remember the character how they call them, that they come in to collect the food that all the ants had to collect the food for them. It's like us. We have been feeding all these species from our energy. It was for me. It's fascinating how Andrew says serve the closers, and in those movies for kids, it's so many.
Oh, I agree with you, and I think that when kids are little. When we are still in our little form, so many times as a human, we tend to think that because it's a newborn or it's a child that it doesn't know anything. And we forget that it's a soul that's very old, that's just in a new body and has to figure out how this body works. And I think that at the beginning, especially for the first few years, they're much more open to remembering. Much more opening to remembering where they've been and what they've done. And when I was at the university, my science biology teachers gave me the key to their library and said, go check this out. And there were books by Dr. Ian Stevenson's Purported Cases of Reincarnation. And most of the cases that they could support and establish were from kids because they were still so actively, able to tie into that time frame. And I think that's great because then it gives the option, the possibility that yes, we are everlasting beings. We only come into this physical form for a short time. We live this being, then we take in another physical being. But we aren't these newborn things. We're just in a newborn body, and we have to figure out how it works. Yeah, in my opinion.
Very good.
Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, my lovely peeps, this has been another great show.
Wow.
I know it's already late, guys. I need to do this. Otherwise we're gonna
I can't believe it's going on almost 2 hours now.
I know. Oh, come on, someone please type the name of the movie, Irina says. Can somebody
type the movie? Which movie?
The one we just talked about.
Horton Hears a Who?
Can somebody type it in? How to Train the Dragon. That was one.
Oh. And the other one was Horton Hears a Who.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah. This one, last one.
That one? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So 13 movies. Okay. If more movies come up, please in the Earth Naval Hub, throw it there. Yeah. I've started watching American Gods, which is, has anyone watched that?
American Gods. I don't know if I have or not.
It's very involving. I mean, it's interesting, but Jesus, there's a lot going on.
Do you know what?
There's series.
Huh?
Yeah. I watched the whole series.
On Netflix, not that everybody wants to watch Netflix, but there is a series on there about Tepi Gobekli. Is that so? Anyway, you know what I'm talking about? The temple, right? the temple, Gobekli Tepe.
Yeah.
Anyway, they did a movie series on it. And what it is, it's a lineage of mothers, daughters in this temple. And so that was really a good one. And I'm going to throw that in there because Spirit is saying throw it in there. And
Yeah.
it was only through Netflix.
What's it called?
You know, I'll have to go back and I'll have to check my browser thing, but I can tell you that it was about a lineage of women, mother daughters. They were born with a star birthmark somewhere on them.
Ah, yes. I've seen that.
And
Sounds
they
very
were,
good.
and it was all connected to Gobekli Tepe.
Yeah. That was very good. That's all I remember. It was very good.
And so that kind of will tie into what we're also saying, where you know more than what we hear. We can see more than this physical 3D world. You know, it ties a lot of those things in. Plus using your own power, because the one mother tries to deny it. She tried to deny her mother, you know, and so it only delayed the inevitable and only made it much worse than allowing.
Yes.
So anyway, Martina, it's been a wonderful time. I thank you for allowing me to host and allowing you to, you know, let it unfold as Spirit kept pushing me to do it. And I want to thank you all so much. Gratitude for being here and sharing with me. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Words. I have got nothing to add to this other than thank you very much for coming on and doing all of that lovely stuff. And thanks for everyone who has come on. Replay is going to get out. And then we've got 2 more Wednesdays before Christmas, right?
Yes.
I see you soon. Thank you very much. Love you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.